What's going on, everybody? This is the blockchain backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. And red day again over here in the cryptocurrency market. We've got Bitcoin sitting at 29,500 with the market caps and the altcoins all pulling back. We can see this chart we've been talking about over here on the total market cap still holding its level, but obviously back down at the bottom side of the range. Now, for the last week, we've been talking about these altcoins, taking a look at several of them that are showing very clear signs of the ending phases of this move. In particular, we've been looking at Dogecoin, we've been looking at Ethereum Classic. I do own some Ethereum Classic, I don't own any Dogecoin. But the structures are very clear to me on what's been happening in here with our pulls down. We've been looking for this last final move, wave 6, going back up to wave 4 within wave 5. And now here we are for the 7th wave, or the last wave. It's gotten all the way down here, so we're now at that point. We've had that happen over here on Dogecoin like we've been talking about for the last week. It has now happened over here on Ethereum Classic as well, pulling back down into this price area. And well, you can pretty much translate into that into the rest of the altcoin market. Similar, same stuff. Now, Bitcoin has taken out all retracement levels at this point, so it becomes this point of double bottom. What's going on in here? Or are we just sticking to, hey, the level is going to continue to hold like it's continued to hold? Short-term time frame technicals have proved to be very, very difficult for Bitcoin. And well, if I'm looking at this ending structure right in here and how this is happening, what do I see? I see 1, 2, 3. I see 4 waves. So is there a 5th one that comes back down a little bit lower? Don't know. Short-term time frame stuff, really tough. Or from the macro view of the whole market, this is the thing that I still see. Nothing about this has broken at this point. Same thing goes for the total altcoin market cap. So if we remove Bitcoin from the total market cap, just look at altcoins, same thing, still holding the double tap, bull flag, backtest, breakout on top of the all-time high. Now, one thing is, we keep talking about this, how it has not reached out to a full 4.236 extension, expecting that the market will recover and make one more final push up higher. Now, if it did do that, right, and if it did stop out up in there, what would we really be looking at going on and up in here? We'd be looking for some type of accumulation by big fall and distribution, right, with a retrace coming back up in here and then likely into a prolonged bear market afterwards. So you have to say to yourself, does this look anything like what it looks like when you're creating kind of that first shoulder in a distribution phase that does go on to create one new high, which would be something similar to that right there for Bitcoin. And we can kind of zoom in on it and see what this corrective phase right here at the end looked like right in here before it did recover and go on to set that one new high. I guess it did even set one even a little bit more, but in the end, still setting a new high. And that structurally from a correction, we're still looking just fine in here. And I think a thing that would really kind of get me not feeling comfortable would be if we lost the all-time high. That would pretty much negate all of these things at this point, right? We'd be losing this back test, we'd be losing the all-time high, losing any potential wave 3, 4, 5, and you'd be saying we're going into a bear market. But at this point, we haven't invalidated any of these things yet. But hopefully you've been following along over the last several days. You got to see how this all played out, for example, here on Doge, counting the waves out, seeing how we got all the way down here, rolling back up into wave 4 within wave 5, to go on to set that new low, and how that was expected, and how that same thing was expected over here on Ethereum Classic, because structurally it sets up to do something like that you get the 5 waves down, you roll up to wave 4 within wave 5, and then you make your last final push down. And that we've been looking at the inverse chart of Bitcoin, and you can kind of understand why my thought process has gone down that road. That this bull run, and when we invert it and look at it in the upside down format, we see that exact same thing. And that in our entire bull run, you would essentially say this is wave 1, this is wave 2, and while I do have my silly way of counting these things out, this is your entire wave 3 all the way out to here, and then wave 4, and then wave 5 is your finishing wave. I know I do count these out kind of silly. It's just so I can kind of explain them to you to show you the things that I see when I'm looking for a kind of a crashing structure to come to an end, what exactly I'm looking for. And this is a repetitive structure I see over and over again. And I've made videos kind of deep diving into this. But that's what I'm seeing over here on Bitcoin. And that if we do something like that there is still that one more high left over there in Bitcoin. And why it's not surprising to see these new lows come in for these altcoins, especially right here for Dogecoin and for Ethereum Classic, because those exact structures do that frequently. And I also released a video on Sunday, which is unusual for me to do. I do it every once in a while, but I try to keep my weekends to myself. But I tried to put that out there on Sunday because, like I mentioned, I said when I see something really clearly, I want to kind of communicate that to you. And this is what we were discussing about on Sunday. It has played out. We're in the depths of it right now. This is the point where people are just feeling absolute pain. And there's nothing wrong with feeling absolute pain. It's perfectly normal to feel that way in these markets. The thing that comes with experience over time is learning how to manage that pain. And I was talking about keeping like an emotional log, and I don't ever see anybody saying that they're doing it, but it's the thing that really helped me kind of figure out how to control my emotions and know when were my emotions feeling particular ways and what did the price action do after that, so I can go back months later and read like my diary on whatever particular day I was writing down how I was feeling. And then I can look back at what the price action did after I was feeling like that. And I noticed over and over again that every time I got really excited, the price action would then turn to the downside. And every time I got incredibly scared and felt absolutely horrible and was super depressed, that the price then reverted back to the upside. And it was like clockwork. It worked every time. And in markets, for me, I've noticed that there's kind of pivotal moments where you can grow as an individual, or at least I can grow as an individual. And I always found it to be in these types of moments when things are either incredibly exciting or incredibly scary, or they've been drawing out for such a long time and trying to figure out how can I grow in this moment. And really, what finally got me to start kind of documenting it was after having the screw up happen so many times, right? So many times of just kind of keep, the definition of insanity. You keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. I'm excited, I'm going to buy, I'm scared, I'm going to sell, doing that over and over and over and over again. And then you're just looking at your portfolio, and either the market has gone way up and somehow you didn't make anything because you kept selling it at bottoms and buying back in at tops, and you completely missed it all because you were playing on your emotions, or figuring out it's time for me to document this stuff and figure out where am I doing everything wrong. And then once I was able to document it and say, every time I felt like this and I wanted to sell, it's very, very obvious I should have been a buyer. Or every time I was incredibly excited and I bought, it was very obvious I should have been a seller at that time. And then once the switch kind of flips within inside you, especially when it flipped within inside me, everything just completely changed because our protective mechanisms that have helped us with most aspects of our lives, our fight and flight mechanisms, our intuition, our judgment, a lot of those things just don't work here. And it's almost like the market is designed to take advantage of human emotions. When people are greedy, it gets them to buy and then it falls. And then when people are scared, it gets them to sell and then it rises. It's incredible. And then I found that while everybody who's buying during excitement feels like they're doing the right thing, and everybody who sells into fear feels like they're doing the right thing, I have noticed that I always had to make my decisions that to sell into the excitement and sell when everybody thinks you're a complete dingus because things are different this time, or buying into complete fear and panic, where again, getting called a dingus by the masses because don't you know it's going to go way lower. That you have to somehow, I've noticed within me, every time I do it, I have to somehow be the opposite of what everybody else is, and it doesn't feel good. So there's almost this acceptance of never feeling good in the markets because anytime the market's going up, I'm always scared. And then anytime the market's going down, I'm always excited. And that's the complete opposite of what everybody else around me is. Everybody around me is either really excited when the market's going up and I'm scared. And then everybody's really scared when it's going down and I'm happy. I'm like, oh, okay, well, yeah, we're going to go up now. We've gone down, right? Markets go up and markets go down, right? Do they go down, down, or do they go up and down and then up and down and then up and down? But the general herd thinks we go up and then down and down and down and down and down and then, but up and down. And so after the down move has happened, I say, all right, well, the next logical move is up, right? But to the herd and to the masses, after down, the next logical move is down again. So I don't know. We know very well that markets just go up and down all their way up, but it happens every single time that when markets go down, everybody thinks they're going to keep going down even further. And then when markets go up, everybody thinks they're going to keep going up further. And then the opposite happens, right? It's just up and down. It's just up and down. And it reminds me of this back on February 21st when I had announced that I had completed my 65% exit plan of Bitcoin, when I'd finished selling Bitcoin once it got above $58,000. And I'm definitely not picking on this person. This is a very, very valid question at that time on February 21st. You're selling Bitcoin while the billionaires of the world, like Elon Musk, are buying. Does this make sense to you? Right? So Elon Musk had just announced days prior to that that Tesla was buying Bitcoin or had already bought $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin. It seemed ludicrous at the time, right? Here I am, Bitcoin exit plan fully executed, 65% sold with hundreds of replies in here. And here on February 20th, it's at 57,150, 61.5% of my Bitcoin is now sold. I stopped selling at 65%. The last sell is just north of $58,000 if it even gets there. So you say that Bitcoin won't go over $58,000, it will go way above that. You're the only analyst who thinks Bitcoin is about to crash 50% in a bull run, a never before seen event. You also might be wrong. Let's see. I expected a 50% crash from $58,000. What are we at right now? We're at 29,000. That's half of 58. It went higher than I expected, but 29,000, half of 58,000. And here we go on February 20th. You've turned into such a bear over the months. We all know you're salty about XRP, but stop relaying that onto the king. Bitcoin will make 58,000 look like nothing. So I think a lot of people kind of forget, what my sentiment was like about Bitcoin when we were up at these higher prices, that I was, call it trash talking, call it whatever you want to call it, about Bitcoin for 4 months. I had to spend 4 months sitting there saying, I can't believe there's this laser eye stuff. I can't believe all these CNBC employees are putting laser eyes on their Twitter profiles. It's that Jim Cramer, Kevin O'Leary, all these people who were bearish about Bitcoin at low prices, pulling them all in at higher prices. And like that one question says, does this make any sense to you? Institutions are pulling in and you're selling. Does that make any sense to you? Nope, sure didn't. I mean, come on, you have Elon Musk, right? You got all the CNBC employees throwing the laser eyes on there. You got Tom Brady throwing the laser eyes on there. You got everybody coming at you in every way with positivity saying it's time to buy. But what ended up happening? The prices ended up falling down during the moment of extreme excitement. And that's what always happens in these markets. And then what happens? Things get incredibly depressing. Things get incredibly scary and worrisome. And we have to tough it out. Look how long we had to tough it out during that upward time period, right? Where it just sat up there at like $60,000. It's like 3 or 4 months sitting up there, right? Now we're sitting down here at these low prices and it's just brutal because, right, you got all these people calling for a prolonged bear market. You got all these people pointing to significantly lower prices. And what is your intuition telling you to do? It's telling you to do the same thing when people bought the top, right? Be scared. There's no hope. The herd knows. The herd knows exactly what to do. They knew what to do at the top. They know what to do at the bottom, right? So I know. Right now it's really tough. We're at the bottom of the range. Everybody's wondering, are we going to break this thing down? We're just going to have to wait and see. I remain optimistic because the total market cap is all still holding all those price levels. Bitcoin is still holding these price levels. And well, are we going to get the big narrative shift happen tomorrow? As you guys know, the mark of the big shift, and I'm not sitting here saying it was the cause, but the mark of the shift in the price action was with our good old friend Elon Musk. And ever since that moment, he's just been, the negative tweet guy, right? But I haven't seen any examples of this guy doing any of this stuff on camera, right? Everything has always been behind tweets, behind a computer screen. I've never seen this guy come out publicly. We do know that his company accumulated Bitcoin all throughout this price level. Here we are. We've been back in this price level, holding Tesla's Bitcoin price level the entire time. Lots of negative tweets, lots of trolling, but never anything on camera that I have seen from Elon Musk. Never anything by voice, everything via Twitter. And tomorrow is the B word, which starts at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And after lots of back and forth, sure enough, there he is, featured speakers, Elon Musk, finally. We're going to hear from the horse's mouth on whether or not everything he's saying is just trolling or whether or not he believes in anything that he believes in. And as you guys know, retail investors have been terrified of cryptocurrency now ever since this guy has turned that off, or at least turned off all of his stuff of being like the super Bitcoin guy and crypto guy. But will Elon Musk be reactivated for retail investors again tomorrow? This month-long move down in altcoins with perfect structure to finally get down to this price level to initiate Elon Musk. Well, Sounds pretty likely to me, but we'll see tomorrow. Now, like I've mentioned over the last couple of days, I am going to be watching that event tomorrow. So I will be posting over here on Twitter today and tomorrow. I will not be making a video tomorrow. I did say that on Sunday. I said that on Twitter yesterday. I always like to, with this situation, I want to make it aware early ahead of time because I only took one day off over the weekend. A lot of times when you just kind of don't show up one day, people will say, "Ooh, why didn't he show up? He's scared." I hope I have proven that I will show up no matter how good or bad it is out here. If we're having a really horrid day, I make a video on it. I don't ever, come up with something and say, oh, some event showed up and I have to disappear for a week or two, right? That has never happened on this channel, no matter what. But tomorrow, no matter what, I am taking the day off tomorrow. I will be watching the B word. I will be seeing what's happening with all narrative changes and all that kind of stuff, get an idea of what the messaging being pushed to the masses is so I can have an understanding of what message they're going with, and also to have a day of rest because in the last week and a half, I've only had one day off. So catch me on Twitter for the next 2 days, today and tomorrow. And if you're looking for more content from me, you can, of course, check out my website, which is bcbacker.com. It's my course where I've deep dived into the previous Bitcoin bull runs, the different altcoin market cycles, going through all the charts to show how the market has worked historically throughout the past. I talk about my personal exit plans. I talk about mathematics. I talk about percentages, and of course, teach you how to set up your own charts and indicators within TradingView and kind of walk you through TradingView a little bit so you can kind of figure out how to do your own charting in there. And you can check all that out over here on bcbacker.com. Like I just mentioned, follow me over here on Twitter at bcbacker, and I'll have my fingers crossed that we are at that moment where things do start to turn positively again. We've been counting those waves. We've been talking about them for several days. Boom, we're out there. So hopefully there's some rocket ship emojis posted over there on Twitter, please. And as I've gone through doing the editing for this video, we could see that, well, there's our leader. We have a green one, Doge, the one we happen to be talking about in this video. You can see it has popped back up. So fingers crossed. Not that I even care about Doge. I own none of it, but I am looking at it as an indicator of the market. Boom, there's that. But all right, guys, I'm going to wrap this thing up. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you could, please like this video and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.